Welcome back to another episode of the Inline K9 podcast, Unleashed and Uncensored. Today's guest is a good one, someone who's worked both in the pet industry in both Canada and the United States, and in the working dog industry in both countries as well. So today I'm pleased to welcome Grassroots K9 founder and owner, Michael Nesbitt. Thanks for joining us.
Hey man, it's great to be here. I was waiting. I was like, hey, what's taking Josh so long to invite me to his podcast? You know, you got to get the cool people out of it first.
I know, eh? No, that's fair. I appreciate it, man. I know I've been excited to have you on here. And, it's funny. I was thinking of also bringing Ali on separately to talk just on the business side. I think that would be quite incredible as well. Because, she has all the business. I know, And you know what you guys have done has taken such, on the grassroots side has taken such that's a massive piece to manage and build, like, you know what I mean? So we'll talk about that. So if you don't mind, I'd like you to introduce yourself and kind of where you're at right now.
Yeah. So my name is Michael Nesbitt. Like you said, I'm owner and founder of Grassroots K9. What we do as a company is quite a lot of pet dog training, problem solving, dealing with behavioral issues, basic obedience, kind of the whole gamut of pet dog behavior. We also, what makes us a little bit unique is that we also at the same time deal with quite a bit of working dog stuff, police dog, military dog. We breed, raise, train, and procure dogs that end up in working roles, which has kind of been my passion project, for quite some time. So
it's a massive piece. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
And, we have a pretty awesome team that helps us keep things moving in the right direction. It's not just, me. Definitely not just me. If it was just me, this thing would have fell apart. It fell apart a long time ago. So, but yeah, that's basically what we do. It's good because we get a little bit of balance too. You get over the working dogs going crazy. You get to clicker train with a little doodle for a little bit and bounce back and forth. So.
Yeah. So I think that I'm going to go off topic there just because you brought that up in the clicker training with the doodle and how you go from raising, Malinois and other dogs to then clicker training a doodle, for something different. And I don't think people understand this. This is something that as a trainer, I found it's definitely helped me in terms of understanding and reading dogs. Just working with all these different breeds, it still has helped me in the German Shepherd and Malinois side of things, and I wouldn't mind if you take a second touch on that in terms of how pet training has changed the way you might look at a working dog and approach a working dog as well.
Yeah, so I think ultimately behavior is behavior. Dogs kind of principally all learn in the same way. So like. The working dogs don't necessarily know they're working dogs. The pet dogs don't necessarily know that they're pet dogs. I think where some distinct differences are is in a lot of times with the pet dogs, we are trying to settle them down, and it's like we're not trying to put a bunch of horsepower and high-speed behaviors and overall things into them. Whereas with the working dogs, really early on, like we front load a lot of horsepower, a lot of like high speed, making them really excited, and just have an overall lust for life. Where
I like that lust for life. Yeah,
makes it. Yeah. That's where I find a little bit of differences. But for sure, these working dogs generally, if we have the right dogs, and they just want to do stuff all the time, so that makes it kind of pretty easy for training. Because they have such a deep internal motivation that it doesn't really require a lot of creativity for motivating on our ends. Another distinct difference would be with these pet dogs is some of them, not all of them, obviously we have to generalize quite a bit, but they don't have as much of that internal motivation. So we have to end up trying to find creative ways to motivate them to want to continue to do the behaviors that are going to be necessary for them to have kind of a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, that's a great point. Especially when you talk like board and train. You potentially have a dog that's away from its owner for the first time, potentially ever. And it's a dog that probably is a Velcro dog already in some instance, which already comes with its own challenges. And then, hey, come meet Michael and his training team. Oh, and try not to scare the shit out of the dog at the first time because they're just so weary of new people and such, right? And that's what I found is working with these doodles specifically, I find, but just breeds like that, smaller breeds, I found, learning how to get them motivated and learning how to understand what is a win in the moment versus what I might want to achieve, or what I might be able to achieve at a later session. But just getting those little wins with those dogs that, you're not able to just put the ball out and get whatever you want. You know what I mean? That's something I noticed, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge.
Yeah. So why don't you talk to me a bit about Grassroots K9, when it started and where it is today?
Okay. Grassroots K9 started in my little pea brain, basically. I don't have many good ideas, but Grassroots K9 was one of them. We started kind of pretty early on with a focus. I kind of knew I wanted to do working dog stuff, but being in the role that I am, a little bit of, again, my background is I have absolutely zero law enforcement experience. Being a cop, I've never been in the military. But I had an affinity towards these working dogs, and it kind of just grew on me. So I knew that I wanted to do something that was attached to that, and I was just at some point happy to be working with dogs, period, pet dogs or working dogs. So it started off, the journey kind of started off basically me trying to find someone to teach me how to train dogs. And that wasn't as easily available as it seems to be today. There wasn't a lot of just programs that you can make this happen or just get to. So I quite literally was getting on the internet, finding somewhere that offered dog training, and just showing up and trying to have a face-to-face conversation with people. And I would say out of all of that, 99% of the people basically told me to kick rocks. And I'm like, man, I couldn't figure out why this is, why wouldn't you want to, and again, I said, sometimes I have a little bit of a pea brain, but then I started to think oh, you know what, it's kind of I think a lot of dog trainers' minds at the time is famine mentality, I don't want to teach people to be my competition, basically. I don't want to teach them to, so finally, after doing that for months, someone didn't say yes, but they also didn't say no. So I just kept showing up there every day, and finally they're just okay, well, you're still here. I guess I'll start. You can start learning how to train dogs.
And who was that?
It was a trainer named Meredith Thompson.
Okay.
It was in South Florida. Phenomenal dog trainer, and me and her. She basically took me under her wing, and I was hooked. I stayed there with her, just learning how to do pet dog stuff. I was actually at a boarding kennel as well named Lauderdale Pet Lodge. I was just under her wing, pet dog stuff, and then she had some Malinois at the time that I was like, whoa, these dogs are pretty cool, and
they're kind of fun.
I do some sport with them. I was like, sport? What is sport? So ended up going out with her to kind of an unofficial French ring club, training club. And I got there and saw dogs biting people, and I was like, this is amazing. I'm like the new shiny thing guy, now I see dogs biting people. I was like, oh, I want to do that. That's amazing. It worked out because it was a bunch of older gentlemen there, and they were happy to let me put the bite suit on.
I feel like that's different from what sport is now. Yeah. What's and that's the new shiny thing. That's you with a flashbang. That was my analogy.
Oh, exactly. Hey man, I'm in Florida now. I have my own flashbangs. When you
that's true. That's true. You could probably just fucking go buy those now anywhere. Fuck.
Just go to Target, pick them up on sale.
Oh my god, I love it. Yeah. Sorry. Carry on. Yeah.
No, that's kind of how I got into it. Then while I was at that club, there were some guys there that were working they're sport dogs, but also were canine handlers for some of the agencies around. So they would train at the same field, and then I was like, oh look, like new shiny thing on the other side of the field, where they're not doing the same thing over and over. So I kind of like I like the learn through osmosis type guy. So I'm just like, well, I'm going to hover over closer and closer to you guys until you're like, all right, do you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, like put me in coach. And then I kind of just got hooked there, and it just kept kind of growing and growing from there. People often ask me like, hey, in the position that you're in, kind of as a civilian, not retired law enforcement or military, how did you get here? And I was like, I don't really have an exact blueprint. A lot of it is just, being in
Hard
the right
work.
place at the right time, and not being afraid to be a little pushy for the things that you want to do, and not taking no for an answer. So, yeah,
No,
that's
I
the short
love
form.
that.
Fast forward now, we have 8 locations throughout Canada and the U.S. Where we kind of all do the same thing.
Yeah. So where,
doing pet dogs
if you don't mind, where are those locations right now?
Oh, this is a quiz now.
Yeah. A, B, or C, man. Let's go.
Yeah. We have a few of them in the GTA. So there's a few just surrounding Toronto. We have Ottawa. We have a location. I'm gonna check my notes. I'm writing them down. So my
competition up here.
We have Sarasota, Florida. We have Maryland. We have Edmonton. Edmonton is our newest one.
Oh wow, nice.
And then St. Augustine, Florida, as well.
Nice. And St. Augustine is run by yourself, or do you have a specific?
Yeah. It's my wife.
Yep.
Me and my wife here.
Nice. So do you guys still take care of that one, or is that like, do you have like a program manager that kind of oversees it? Like, because I know you're quite busy as well. So you and Ali. So do you still oversee everything, or you guys, or is it kind of? Do you have someone?
We have a bit of a team here as well, but we definitely oversee everything.
Awesome.
Everything that we can.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So, if you don't mind, what are some of the things you're currently doing on the working dog side? I know you're working with another organization, as well as, you kind of travel and do some different, seminar type working dog stuff. Why don't you tell me about that? What services you do that?
Yeah. So I work with a not-for-profit right now as the training director. The not-for-profit is called Canines United. Canines United does a bunch of stuff for law enforcement in regards to canine, all things canine, including equipment, providing vehicles, providing dogs. They also provide seminars and training workshops. So as a training coordinator, kind of my responsibility is coordinating that side of it, not the equipment purchases and so forth. So that keeps me pretty busy. We were blessed to have Josh actually come out now and do some stuff with us. I'm hoping to get him back out here soon. Get him out of the cold for a little bit.
I would love that. Yeah. I mean, speaking just on the police working dog side, the pet side's fun. I think it helps you in so many areas, but I think most people in kind of our realm, the passion is the working dog side, especially like for me, having done a lot of that with on the military side. Like I want to give back to that side, right? Like I mean, working that in Lee County, Florida was fucking awesome. You can't throw a rock and not hit 10 dog teams there. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're all over. Anywhere you look in Florida, there's canine teams. The other thing that our St. Augustine location is doing is that we're the training coordinators for our sheriff's office, our local sheriff's office out here.
Okay.
So running some dogs through that, maintenance training, handlers courses, and so forth. So that's also been keeping us a bit busy.
That's awesome.
Which has been also pretty fun. It's a different level, or I don't want to say level, but a little bit different of involvement when you get to see the process all the way through. It was one of the big motivators for us to actually get down here. In Canada, it was a little bit limited on how much of the process you get to be involved in. A lot of the training, I know I'm preaching to you, a lot of the training up there is just is done in-house. So that was a big motivator to come down and be like, okay, now we get the opportunity to have puppies or fresh dogs that haven't done anything and see them all the way through and be a part of their career the entire time.
Yeah, which is rewarding as hell too. That's
super fulfilling, man.
Yeah, and it just helps you grow even more. You know what I mean, in terms of understanding problem sets, handler issues, stuff like that. Like I think it's a full mission kind of look at. So, okay, awesome. So. When you travel around the States right now, because I might have noticed you like to travel a bit. What kind of services do you offer when you travel?
Yeah, so great question. We do workshops. We do decoy workshops and seminars. Do like just general problem solving. So as you and I know, a lot of these, there's a lot of agencies that may have some limited resources just because geographic location to the help that they need. So just kind of general problem solving courses. We offer e-collar courses, arousal control stuff. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what else we do. We do offer quarterly maintenance training as well for some agencies that are a little bit maybe more remote and by themselves, just so they have some outside eyes that can kind of help them and not just help them
consistency
over a couple of days. Exactly, like having consistency. So
yeah, no, that's fair. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean your decoy side of things, like that's like, I don't think people understand how much fucking work that is. Like never mind just putting on a suit, but understanding how to take dogs safely, that's a whole aspect of itself, but then understanding the role that a decoy plays in right from the onset of building grips to the confidence of a dog, to all the ways it's used to problem solve, and then push past certain things too, right? So I've been fortunate enough to watch you work a number of times, and I've always appreciated it. I don't have, in terms of decoying experience, I'm very basic in terms of just catch a dog safely and kind of low light, high light, all that kind of stuff, but nothing crazy to let's fix issues, right, from a decoy perspective. So it's always nice to see. Well, I got to watch you and Carlos. Watching fucking Carlos talk to a crowd is just, it's something. Yeah, you fucking idiots. I'm like, oh, okay, we're starting there. Okay, that's good.
Let's get it going. There's no need for coffee in the morning.
No, yeah, it's 9:02 and here you're fucking idiots. So no, I love Carlos. It was great, and he, it's funny, he does the pet dog thing too, right? Like, he does. It's just funny, and I kind of want to start there actually, in terms of the pet dog side. So when let's go exclusively on the pet dog side for a second. If I were to ask you kind of your training philosophy on pet dogs, what would you say your kind of overriding mindset would be in terms of the philosophy that you use to train?
Yeah, my overall mindset to train would probably be make sure that we teach behaviors before we obligate behaviors.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a balanced trainer, but I think oftentimes because of, particular in pet dog stuff, because of people feeling pressure by time constraints or whatever it may be, they jump to obligating behaviors, making dogs do things before they truly know what the right answer is. So I always want to teach them and give them a lot of time in that phase before we start saying, okay, I'm going to just hold you accountable to a sit, even if you don't really know what a sit means. That would say my underlying philosophy would be spend a little bit more time on the teaching.
Yeah, no, that's fair. From an operant mindset, right? Like I feel like you're pretty heavy on the operant side as well. And it's funny that you say that you use the word obligate. I love that, because one of the, when I first do a consult with any new client, one of the things that I write in the consult brochure form and explain is, first we teach, then we train, right? We can't train a behavior until the behavior is taught, right? So kind of try to keep it simple, because most people, they're already on like full receive at that moment. It's a lot for them. So I always tell them today's a bit of a fire hose, but I'll tell you what I think you need to work on and what to remember. Other than that, just here, keep this and go through it over the next couple of weeks, right? But you're right. People jump to obligate, and that's a great word, because I think if you're looking at 3 steps, you go teach, train, and then obligate, which is fun, because people go straight to you have to do it, even though we haven't, we might have not even punished you at any sense yet, right? In terms of understanding those behaviors under stimulus before we like demand, right? And the obligate. So I like that word.
I give the example of like, it's like that the typical, like you're at the table with your homework from school, your math homework, and maybe you weren't paying attention in class, so you didn't learn how to do the long division that day. And your mom or your dad is just sitting there over your shoulder, and they're asking you what the answer is, and you get it wrong, and then they just smack you. Or they yell at you, and then you get it wrong again, and they just yell at you. It's like, well, I just don't know how to do this. No amount of force is going to get me to know how to do this. I have to learn it first.
And I think I've started to notice a shift in this in this in the standard training realm here on the pet side as well. Definitely on the working dog side, but in the pet side, people are starting to actually teach now instead of just demand training. So you're starting to get that. It's just, I find people struggle with, when you think of an efficiency standpoint, how long do you teach before you start training or obligating, right? And and that's where I find, communication tools and a communication system, right? Like a marking system of some sort, whatever that might be for you. And then using the use of e-collars. And I want to touch on some adversives here, because the big no-nos in some people, right? And I call those, I joke about the blue-haired people. That's what they are. Like they'll have their husky on their 20-foot leash for the rest of their life, and that's because their husky is happy and loves them, right? Meanwhile, our huskies will be off leash with full recall, living the fucking life that they're supposed to be genetically bred to live, right? So when we talk about e-collars, like how early would you implement an e-collar on any level? I'm not talking punishment or anything. I just mean straight from wearing a collar.
Wearing the collar, I don't really. I'll put it on puppies. I'm not going to be generally using the e-collar pressure on puppies. But I also will just want them to not to be this like, the first time I actually use it, this big drawn out routine of, okay, here's your e-collar, and I put it on.
It's just neutral.
Exactly. Generally speaking, e-collar work for actually the working dogs or the pet dogs in the foundational stages are pretty similar to me. I teach them first and foremost a behavior that they really love to do. Usually it's a place. Where they range out to the place. They love doing it. I build like a little bit of an addiction to that game. And then when it comes time to introduce them to the e-collar, I literally start on a level 1 on an e-collar tech. It's 1 to 100. I'll be on a level 1, and I tap them and they go to the place, tap them and I go to the place, and just kind of rinse and repeat, because I think some of the difficulties that we have with e-collars, or people run into, the blue-haired people with the e-collars, is that they think of it as like this big punitive thing, and it's not. It doesn't have to be. It definitely can be, and there are times where it is absolutely appropriate for it to be punitive like that. If I need to be punitive to teach a dog not to run in front of a bus, or obligate them to not run in front of a bus, I would much rather it be pretty punitive there than the bus is going to be more punitive. So,
I love that analogy, because I literally fuck the dog's feelings in that moment. It's about saving the dog's life, right? But I've also set myself up in the training so that the odds on them fucking us off and running to a bus, because we've set ourselves up through negative reinforcement and introducing proper punishment through a marking system, it's very, very less likely, right? That's the goal.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And ultimately, like, training, obviously, like, safety for the pets and for the working dogs is the top priority. But training, if we're not hitting those points of quote unquote failure during our training, then we're not actually pushing the dogs to where they need to be. If I can, I give the example of, like, I got a 6-year-old. If she comes home and she's like, "Hey, Dad, I can count to 25," right? And I'm like, "Oh, that's friggin' awesome. I'm so proud of you." And then, years go by and she's in the 12th grade and she comes back home and she's bragging to me that she can count to 25. Well, we have a damn problem, right? Like, no, we need to continue to push you.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at the age. When they've hit this benchmark and they're capable of, we use a recall, for instance, they're capable of understanding my negative reinforcement with a low distraction area. Well, I don't just stay there. Then I move to places where they're going to have temptation to make the wrong decisions in a safe manner, not where they're going to run in front of a bus. And push them to they have to make wrong choices eventually to know what the right choice is, and that there is a difference. If we don't let them make choices, they don't learn.
That last sentence you just said about, pushing them to, enforcing a wrong choice and letting them know. I am such a proponent, and as I'm sure you are as well, of there's nothing more important to me than a well understood and well timed and well received positive punishment. For me, once you initiate that, once you're there, once the dog understands the behavior, what's being asked, the marking system is clear, it's immediate, impressionable, inescapable. To me, like, once the dog gets that, you're not asking me, now you're telling me I have to do this. There's a difference, right? Once I find that is, you're at that point in your training. I mean, that changes everything. Like, I always tell clients when they ask Fluffy to go to the fucking place board and Fluffy doesn't want to go because, they don't enforce it or they're not consistent. Well, every time you ask Fluffy once, you got to enforce it, right? And eventually what I say is, once there's a consistency there, even though Fluffy still decides to fuck you off every now and again, but you've been consistent with it, once you start implementing punishment and it's understood, I mean, your life's going to change at that point once you reach that consistency standpoint, right? And people don't understand that. People think it's this big stick, it's about hurting. And I always look at it as, let's say you remove humans, okay? You remove humans from the equation. If you and I were out and you have a bone and I walk up and I take your bone, right? And we don't have hands, we just have mouths at this point, right? So how the fuck
don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. You'll get Rod going. He's fucking he just fucking spidey sense went off somewhere. But it's so true though. Like, what's your communication model look like at that point, right? Like, it's not going to be a excuse me, that's mine, right? Like, the dogs don't communicate like that, and for us to use a leash correction, a physical correction, an e-collar correction. Dogs understand that. And I don't think that people understand how important that is, because without the, I don't want to say the fear, but because people fucking misconstrue things, but like, without the fear that I shouldn't do something because it has a consequence, right?
Undesirable consequence, yeah.
Oh man. Well, like, what's stopping me from just going to rob a bank? Probably because I want to spend the rest of my life with my children. You know what I mean? Like, there's consequences for everything. So, and dogs, animals are massive on that. We have a thing called reason, most of us. We have a thing called reason, right? So we can work through that, where these guys can't. They go off what gets them rewarded and what gets them punished. That's it. Absolutely. Always or never black and white. Man, dogs, people like to give dogs a lot of credit. They eat their own shit. They're not that smart. They're amazing creatures, and if we take the time and communicate with them properly, we can do quite a bit with them. I mean, some of the complex behaviors from the working dog side is just incredible. And then you look at some border collies when they do, like, everything from their genetic, what they're made to do, like, herding sheep, versus I've seen them on like Dancing with the fucking Stars, where they do those crazy routines, right? That is fucking incredible, man. And those collies are just, they're just eating that up, right? They need that, right? And it's anyways, it's just interesting, people's reaction to different equipment. I'm the same way.
My answer to them is like, hey, if I can make reliable and repeatable behavior by just giving dogs cuddles and kisses and hugs and cookies all the time, then that's what all of us would do. Like, it's not about, it's not like we're like, oh, you know what, we want to, or we have like
some power trip or
a power trip over. It's like, no, we want reliable, effective, repeatable results. And this is what is available to us. Now, if different techniques arise in the future that are more effective than this and don't encompass what we're doing now, I don't. I'll do that. I'm not married to what I'm doing now. I'm just like, hey, this is the best, most effective information that we have available to us right now. With proven, repeatable results. So like that's why I'm here doing this. You know?
No, I love that, and it's so true, eh? Because at the end of the day, it's efficient. It does work, and I always tell people who are unsure about e-collars, because the first question I ask is like, do you know what an e-collar is? Some people will say no. I'll say it's XYZ, right? And then if people have heard of it, and then I ask them, what do you think it is, right? And then that's always one of the biggest misconstraints I find is people explain it wrong or don't understand what it truly is, right? Shock collar, the term shock. It's like, well, there's not fucking electricity coming out like a bolt and it's hammering your dog, right?
It's like just a taser around their neck.
Yeah. Do this or else, right? And people don't understand that. So, and I'm very much like you in that regards. I allow them to understand this is what we can do for your dog in the long term. Giving them access to a life and exposure and experiences that they'll never have attached to a 20-foot leash the rest of their life, or afraid to bring them anywhere, right? And I think I call people on this selfishness too, and I think you and I have known each other long enough where I feel like we're pretty blunt in our the way, because at the end of the day, like I really don't care, you know what I mean? Like, and I joke like, go ahead and cancel me, it doesn't matter, and the thing is, you're being selfish by not doing this, because now your dog is never going to get to experience what it was genetically bred to experience, right? It's just going to be stuck inside of its 20 by 20 apartment with a 30-foot leash forever, and it kind of sucks. And
it's our job as trainers and dog owners to honor the dog that we have to the best of our abilities, and a part of honoring that dog is like raising children, in that like you can't just give them all the things they want whenever they want it, because we don't create productive members of society in that way. And with your dogs,
what do you mean, Mike?
We're trying to make them productive members of society, of the canine society, So I definitely think that's what it is. I think also a part of what we need to do, and I know that you're this way as well, is that I don't shy away from conversations of e-collars. I don't try to underplay how it's used. No, I'm going to use it in this way to activate behaviors, but there's also going to come a time and come a point where the e-collar is going to cause a certain level of discomfort for your dog, because that is going to be necessary for the whole picture. If we do our job right, we shouldn't have to be staying around that phase of e-collar work for too long. There should be far and few between, but I'll sit down and have conversations and explain it, because I don't think it's right to also like mislead people, for like, oh, like e-collars, it's just fun and it just feels amazing, and it's going to be like a little massage. No, a lot of it is going to feel like that, but every now and then we're going to have to hand him his ass, because he's trying to bite your neighbor's child.
He needs to be reminded where he sits in my fucking life in terms of hierarchy, right? And some people don't like to hear that, but think about if you let a dog run a household. Like, this is where a lot of these issues stem from, right? Like reactivity. Like if I have 2 shepherds, and if I walk up to one of my dogs and one of them has a toy or a bone, and if they were to growl at me, like, oh buddy, like I'm sorry. And in that moment, there's two things are going to happen, right? There's going to be a coming to Jesus for that dog. But secondly, it's like, how did I allow that to get to that point, right? That's me talking, like me thinking. If my dog doesn't want to give a tea towel back, a remote back, whatever it is, think of how bad, how long that's gone kind of unchecked to get to that point to where maybe they're guarding people now. You can't come and hug your wife. You can't, and people think it's cute, right? People think that stuff's cute. It's protecting the baby. No, listen, that's not the way that works, right? Like that's fucking dangerous behavior, and that dog is going to bite someone, and then in that moment you have 2 options: let the dog self-reward and continue that behavior, or come to Jesus and let's fucking go, right? So that's and that part's always bothered me, is dealing with kind of that those behaviors in homes where dogs run the homes. It's like you go to push a dog off a bed and he growls at me or he snapped at me. Okay, my first question, Mike.
So they're like, so I leave him on the bed.
Man, the first question I fucking ask Mike is, okay, so what happened? What did you do in that moment, right? I want to know exactly.
I sleep on the couch now.
Man, I'm telling you, I used a pillow and he kind of let me in the bed. So he let you into his bed now. That's what just happened there, right? People don't understand that, right? Like, and it's just so interesting. And you get this concept of, I don't want to punish my dog because I love them and I don't want to hurt them, right? And I always tell people, you don't love your dog more than I love my dog. Like that's like, I'll challenge you on that. Just because you don't want to punish them doesn't mean you're a better owner, right? And that's something I found has been an interesting conversation to have with people. But like you said, do it directly, do it bluntly, but help them understand why, right? Like, it's not about just making them feel stupid. It's not about being an asshole. And if you do that, that's not going to be successful for your business, even though it's fun to do every now and again. But it's not conducive to proper business, right?
And it's about finding the people, like, also, like when we're doing evaluations with clients, like they're evaluating us, like how we are for them, and we're evaluating them how they are for us. Like we want to be. We want to have the clients that are invested in this and they like believe in what we're doing. If they don't, like we'll try to explain to them, but ultimately, like, I want them to go where they're comfortable, whether that's with me or with the next person or whoever it is. I think that's important. Finding the right trainer for you and your dog is just as important as everything else that plays a role in here. But I think you brought up a point that I think is pretty cool, where you're like, hey, I challenge you that you don't love your dog more than I love my dog by doing this. And we're parents, so I always go back to like, sometimes love is doing things that are hard to do. Like the easy way is, it's like the kid that gets in trouble at school every day, and their parents quote unquote love them. So they're like against what the principal says, or I'm against the teachers being mean to you, or this is, and it just cycles and cycles, and then that kid grows up, and what are they? How productive are they for society?
They end up pissing in a litter box in 11th grade. So that's where we're at. I told my daughter, because she goes to public school, and I told her, I said, hey, this is your first year in high school. I said, if there's any kitty litter, like if I hear of any of that shit, like you're gone. She's like, okay, I'm like, it's fuck, you're done. I'm not even gonna have the conversation. It's over, right? So, and it's so. And living in Florida, I feel like that shit's not. That shit probably gets sorted out pretty quick. Yeah. I'm a huge Ron DeSantos fan, man. I know the movements have split pretty wide now, left and right, but DeSantos is someone that's always stuck to me as the right side of center, and he's pretty in the middle, but it seems to me like he really cares about the Florida.
He does pretty right by Canines United as well.
Yes, so he seems like a common sense guy, man. Like he seemingly, you never know. Like I can't speak to it, but he's seemingly, his actions tend me to believe that. But again, you never know, right? Okay, so we talked about the punishment and kind of the training mindset wise, because. During the e-collar process, same thing. I use the e-collars almost right away, and it's basically just to neutralize and go into negative reinforcement almost right away, and helping. It's fun explaining to clients or putting them on clients and helping them work through. I make games too, where I'll have one put it on the person using the leash, and then it's the client that has to correct the other spouse in terms of if their timing or communication was right or wrong. And what I always find funny is somebody can be messing up communication over and over and over, but the second there's a threat of a punishment, I find the communication clears up. And I said, and I always ask, why do you think that is? You haven't even got a correction from your spouse yet, and you're already better, because you understand, right? There's a difference, right? Now, we can't do that to a dog right away because they don't have that reason and understanding. We need to teach them first. But it's just funny how you can use, simple, comparison and having, it's fun watching spouses tag each other on the e-collar too.
Start some domestics and then stir the pot and leave. It's good.
Buddy, I tell them all the time, you know, you've probably dealt with it. You know, hey, has your dog ever ran away from you and never come back? The husband will be like, no, he always comes back to me. And the wife will be like, oh my God, all the time. And I'll be like, hey, listen, I charge more for marriage counseling than I do for dog training. Okay. So like I don't want to hear it. It becomes this big, you know, we all laugh and it goes on from there. Right. So
just stir the pot and leave and then send an invoice for marriage counseling.
Exactly. Yeah. So what's your email again? No, it's so true. Okay. So what kind of stuff do you have coming up for Grassroots K9? What do you got on the go? You got any travel coming up? Any seminars?
Travel. I'm not going north of the Mason-Dixon line until winter's done. So we'll be down here with the palm trees and beaches.
Oh man, I hate you.
We have. I got a handler's course, another handler's course starting in January. It'll be. I think there's about 3 dogs that'll be on that.
With the sheriffs?
Actually, no, they're out of state.
Nice.
They're coming down to Florida. Which
awesome.
I feel like a great selling point for handlers in the north. Hey, come on down to Florida. We'll do a handler's course.
If they can afford it, yeah, absolutely, right.
Do our lectures on the beach. Come on, man. I got that coming up in January. February, I get back onto the road. Schedule is getting kind of hectic again. You know, it's since I moved down here.
Congrats on that, by the way.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Just getting things in order before we hit the road again. I'm supposed to be going to France, Australia, all over. How was Australia? You just came back, right?
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was awesome. It was really good. Man. Yeah, they. I got to work with a bunch of Americans that came down as well. 2 Secret Service coordinators there, and then who I just did a podcast with one of them, James Sable, works for the Department of Homeland Defense. He man, when you meet certain people, you know, fellow 44s, when you meet certain people, you just know like like I trust you, I know what I know you know what you're doing, and like I want to be around you. So that was this guy. Like I'm telling you right now, him and his partner Chris. Chris started the U.S. War Dog. Chris Willingham. Just another phenomenal guy. They were both in MARSOC together as well before they went off to the Department of Homeland Security. Anyways, great people. I'm looking forward to having Chris on as well and talk about that not-for-profit as well. And they take care of fallen handlers, families, and dogs and such. So just fantastic people. And yeah, Australia was great, man. Like met a lot of nice people, a lot of great handlers. Worked with the Air Force, the engineers, the military police, and then the 2 commando guys as well. And
nice.
And that was good. That was good, man. I enjoyed putting the 2 commando guys through their paces. Because I demand more of them. You know what I mean? Like that's just from a me standpoint, because I did their job. So it was very good, and I'm excited. We're looking to go back next year for a couple weeks, and go to their training facility in Sydney and work with them specifically.
It's super nice there, man.
Oh man, I've heard and being in that military, I've heard of their facility. I've heard the 360 firing range, everything. So I'm excited to see it. I really am. I think it'll be pretty cool. They're really nice guys, man. I had a great time. I met their 2 trainers and like 3 or 4 of their handlers, and it was good, man. Made some good progression with their guys and just teaching training theory and accountability, communication and stuff. So no, it was great, man. What are you doing in Australia?
I have someone that's organizing that all up for me right now at the moment. That's boots on the ground there. But I don't want to say the agencies or anything wrong.
That's all right.
I'm just not gonna. But
nice.
Yeah, they're setting that up for me. So,
nice. That's good. Yeah. When what does that look like? A week or 2 or?
I think I'm down there for 2 weeks.
Nice. It's a good time frame, with all that travel and stuff.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Us 44s, it takes us a while to recoup from that long travel.
You know how hard it is to fit in those seats, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, that's great. I love to hear that. How's Allie doing and the family?
Oh, she's doing good, man. She's doing
Yeah.
good. Family, kids are settled in at school. They're loving it down here. So
I was going to
all is
ask,
well, man.
how have you noticed that with your kids in the schools? Like, have you noticed any difference, or is it just still too early? Or
No, of course, like I knew they're going to a new school in a new country, so a little bit
hmm
of like them more building themselves up about it than I think anything. Once they got there, like once they're here now, it's awesome. And like the sports programs,
yeah,
they're just, and because we were in Canada, but we were in country Canada, like we
yeah,
weren't even in. So
yeah,
it's just like they went from a school that maybe had 100 kids in it to like both of their schools are probably over 500 kids, but like
yeah.
big programs, like very good, like a lot of support, extracurricular activities. So yeah, really awesome, and I'm happy.
That's great. No, I'm happy to hear that. Do you have another? Are you raising puppies right now, or do you have another litter planned? Or
No litter planned at the moment. I have that on my Patreon. I got a raising Polly kind of series. It's a puppy that I've been raising on video since she's been probably, I want to say 6 weeks. She's just about to turn a year in January. So we have there's over probably 70 videos of that training process on there as well. So that's been pretty fun, like a little another side project that I've been working
yeah,
on. So,
it's just a few things. Yeah, what do you do with your free time?
yeah.
Shoot guns in my backyard. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We need you to come down. We got not here, but at the sheriff's office, pretty good training facilities, man. Like I would
That's
like you
awesome.
to come down and do some work with our guys too. So
That'd be
awesome.
sick. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
man.
love to do that. Yeah, I mean, fuck, Florida, I'm in. Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Thanks for coming on today. I really appreciate your time. I think one of the big takeaways, for myself and what I want people to take away from, kind of our chat is understanding the communication model, and the flow in which first you teach, then you train or obligate, whatever word you want to use. It's so bang on, and people don't understand that you have to have a natural order to things, and you have to teach things in such a way that the dog truly understands what's being asked. Because I always tell people, man, your dog doesn't speak English. No matter how much you think your dog speaks English, they don't speak a fucking lick. They speak tone and body language, right? So if we're on consistent with our tone and we use our body language to assist and gather consistent, rewardable efforts, then that alone is going to improve your the odds of these behaviors improving and decrease the behaviors that we don't want, right? When we're consistent in punishment, once the dogs understand and generalized what's allowed and what's not allowed through any and all kind of atmosphere. So stimulus I use, that's the kind of the term I use, like you said, you used it earlier, same thing, same concept. I feel as though we're, I would argue pretty identical in our training mindset. And I think a lot of that has to do with the ability where we've seen a lot of dogs on the pet side, but then also got to play with the other side. And I think use A to train B and B to train A, right? Understanding. Yeah, because it's all, you can't be all gas until the gas turns back and fucking climbs the leash, right? So there's a time and a place for that too. And one of the things I'll ask you quick, and just because I think this is important to touch on is the gas before break piece with the teaching dogs what they love, using the toys, using the high rewards, the working dog side. I found that this is something that's starting to change within Canada in terms of a clearer mindset. Obviously, dog selection and genetics, of course, are massive, but it's no longer, get the dog geared to 100 and then punish the shit out of it when it doesn't do what you want. We're starting to see the ship turn, through the efforts of Brad and other agencies here, and understanding that it's about helping the dog, channel that energy too, right? And not because that whole leaking when your dog's just losing their shit. For me, that was something that there's got to be a better way, right? Like why are these dogs not able to go to a door and not lose their shit? But that doesn't mean if your dog's quiet, he's any less aggressive than the dog losing their shit, right? That's the way I kind of use examples. And I don't know, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think it still principally is horsepower before brakes, but I think we're being more concise in what we mean by that, and in different profiles how we're defining that. they have to first understand that searching a building is important before we teach them to be quiet at searching a building, because if there's no importance to it, like a quiet dog that won't search the building isn't an effective dog.
Useless,
anyway. So it's like they have to, and we have to teach them how to deal with that. Really, like, hey, because you're really excited about something, I can't avoid the excitement. I have to teach you how to deal with that excitement.
Yeah,
that makes sense?
how to channel it. Yeah, instead of just, if you do this, I'm going to fucking correct you. That's what I find. Yeah, and you know what you just, that's a great point that you just mentioned is you know, operations drive training, right? And this is the thing, you know, I've heard too many people think that training drives operations, and it drives me fucking nuts. Operations, what you need to do for your dog, you know, if that's find bad guy and bite bad guy, perfect. Focus on that. Get your gas for that fucking and then get it dirty on the street and make it happen, right? All right, now that you got that, now that you got the dog that'll do this, now let's look at how we, you know, harness this energy and make us more efficient, even stronger, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the big takeaways.
In training, I'm because I'm doing these courses now and running through. I think some things that have helped us a little bit with that is teaching them separately from building searching or these like high drivey things, like really reliable kind of control away from that context, getting the horsepower in the arousing
operational context,
and then when they're really proficient at both of those things, like the marriage is much easier.
You're not starting from scratch. Yeah,
exactly.
No, I love that. No, that's a great point. And that's just choosing an aim, focusing on it, and doing it. And I find, you know, a lot of young handlers and a lot of agencies try to do, say, you know, 6 aims in one training, and that's when you can get yourself in trouble. And you know, I learned that early on. I made those mistakes as well. And shit, like my dog's looking at me like I have 6 heads right now. But once you know, what do I want to improve, right? Boom, let's focus on that, build on that, you know, and then go to something else, work on that. And then when you bring them all together for like operational context, you know, you start to look a lot better. So no, I'm glad we touched on that, because I love touching on the working dog side. I just, from a passion point, this is it. And you know, I know you get to do a lot of this too. And so I'm really happy that we get to help people in that regards, because I mean, dogs coming home safe and handlers coming home safe to their families, that's all I care about, man. I think that's our biggest takeaway, right? So awesome. I want to thank you a ton for today, your time. I appreciate you taking your time out, and you know, best of luck to you and your family. Tell Ali we say hello. We have a 3-month-old boy you haven't met yet. He's
44.
got, oh man, he's gonna be a 44 for sure. Yeah, the way he's drinking that milk right now, he's gonna be a 44. So yeah, so no, it's going well. Sleep is at a premium in our home, so we're working through it. But it's interesting to go back to these days. But yeah, no, I really appreciate it, man. Again, hi to the family from Lauren and I, and thanks for taking the time. If you guys, I hope you take a second. If you haven't heard of Mike or Grassroots K9, please go check them out. Check out their locations, no matter where you are. They got a bunch of them, and that's only going to continue to grow. They've done a fantastic job at opening up and expanding their brand. So go take a look. Fantastic people, fantastic trainers, and even better people, I would argue. So thank you again. If you like this, please like and subscribe. Looking forward to seeing you guys next week. And Mike, I want to thank you again.
Thank you, man. I'm glad I got to be here.
Yeah, awesome, man. Yeah, I look forward to it. I'll have Ali on next.
Awesome.
Awesome, buddy. Thanks.